Chapter 6 is called Dhyana Yoga, Yoga of Meditation. Very interesting because if you remember, we had in the previous chapter Yoga of Renunciation of Action, Karma Sannyasa Yoga. So in that, Arjuna always he gets tempted to become sannyasi. He gets tempted. One is probably sannyasatva by its gross meaning. It appears that we will get rid of all our problems once we become sannyasis. That's the concept. We can just leave the family, take the kamandalu. Previously, they used to take kamandalu. Kamandalu is just which carries some water, and then leave home and then be at peace. When you don't have family issues, then you will be obviously at peace, isn't it? That's what people assume. But Krishna makes it very clear that it's not enough if you, it's not that easy to become a sannyasi, because in the true sense, a sannyasi has to um, become real sannyasi is abandoning the fruits of action. It's not just karma sannyasa. Giving up action, giving up responsibility can never be a real sannyasatva. It should be, in the true sense, it should be giving up the results of action, giving up the desires, giving up the dualities, maintaining a very calm state of mind. And therefore, he says, absolutely, there is no difference between a yogi, karma yogi, who lives in the samsara, performs his actions as per yogic principles, and a person who wants to take up sannyasa. So both cannot be differentiated. And actually, to become a sannyasi, you must go through these rigorous principles, rigorous challenges of life, learn to uh, overcome these hurdles and these opposites, duality, sukha, dukkha, um, mana, apamana, that means insults, appreciations, happiness, joys, sorrows, all that you have to transcend. Learn to do that. Only then you will be eligible to actually give up your actions, stay at a place and meditate and contemplate. So he suggests Arjuna to go through that path. There are some people who actually, like Shankaracharya, I told you, who take up sannyasatva right in the beginning. But those are the people who have done a lot of homework previously, and therefore they have grown. And at very young age, even Gautam Buddha also, these people are all close to Avatara Purushas. So therefore they become sannyasis. But very few people are there of this cadre. By and large, Krishna suggests we need to go through these challenges of life. So, having said that, we will say Guru Stotra and then commence chapter 6 today. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय हरये परमात्मने प्रणतक्लेशनाशाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। So I thank as I said, my Guru, the first person who introduced me to this Bhagavad Gita was Swami Chinmayananda, and then Swami Nirbhayananda Saraswati, my mother, and all the experiences of life which have guided me towards Bhagavad Gita and its implementation to some extent, through which I have learned. And thanks to all of you for giving me this opportunity to share whatever little I know, guided by all my gurus. So this Dhyana Yoga is yoga of meditation. Very nicely, he has brought us gradually to this state. He has explained about what is Sankhya Yoga, what is our real identity, and what is Karma Yoga, how we need to handle day-to-day activities with the Yoga Bhava. And then the differentiation, as I said just now, between what actually people perceive as a sannyasi or becoming a sadhu, versus how to handle our day-to-day active life, which contributes to majority of the activities that are happening around us. So from there, now he takes us to Dhyana Yoga. What actually is this yoga of meditation, Dhyana Yoga? As we have discussed earlier also, each yoga cannot be isolated. Yoga, when we start practicing this yoga, that is a combination of all, depending on our tendencies and our growth, evolution. We adapt to certain types of yoga. But what is commonly practiced, commonly expected, and which is easy to do is karma with bhakti, karma yoga with bhakti, doing the actions with the yogic attitude and surrendering to God and expressing devotion. That is bhakti yoga. So generally bhakti plus karma, which lead to jnana. Ultimately, all these lead to wisdom or jnana. So, but people who are advanced, they follow this dhyana yoga. That means they meditate. Those who are advanced, they have already crossed all these hurdles. They contemplate and then they reach the perfect ultimate jnana through this dhyana yoga. However, dhyana should be also an integral part. Dhyana should be integral part of our yogic practice also. Spending some time on meditation will have tremendous benefits, and it will aid in the implementation of karma yoga or bhakti yoga. They all complement each other. So dhyana is nothing but cooling of your, calming down the mind with uh, great connectivity to that supreme consciousness. We shall see how this chapter goes. So the first shloka, he says, Shri Bhagavanuvacha anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karoti yaha sasannyasi cha yogi cha niragnirna cha akriyaha. So what does it mean? Bhagavan Vacha, Sri Krishna says, again continuing with uh, the differentiation between sannyasi and other yogis. In brief, karma yogis, sannyasa versus grahastha, or sannyasi versus those who are involved in activities. He says, अनाश्रितः कर्मफलं कार्यं कर्म करोति यः स सन्यासी च योगी च न निराग्निः न च अक्रियः. One who performs actions, that is karyam karma, both he has given. Karma is action, karyam is doing his regular duties. One who performs actions and his bound duty without anashritah karma phalam, without expecting any results. This is the basic funda of karma yoga. He or she is considered as a renouncer or a yogi. Here we are using these two terms. Sannyasi is one who has renounced the action and who has left the family, who is not going to do any action and just going to contemplate, meditate, get into the jnana marga. Yogi, we are referring to a karma yogi. So, one who performs actions and his bound duties without expecting any results is said to be a sannyasi or yogi. And next is nacha niragnihi, not the one who does not light fire. I'll tell you what it is. Niragnihi, Agni is fire. Who does not light fire, nor the one without actions, akriyaha. That means just by not burning fire or not performing action, one cannot be called as a sannyasi or a yogi, respectively. Karma yogi cannot be a yogi just because he doesn't perform action. No. Sannyasi cannot be called sannyasi just because he doesn't light a fire. What does this mean? Lighting a fire means cooking, performing actions for the self. A sannyasi goes and begs alms. Bhavati bhiksham dehi. He doesn't cook for himself. He has given up all the actions. So just by not lighting the fire, not cooking, you cannot be called as a sannyasi. And just by giving up a kriya, not doing any work, you cannot be called as a yogi. You cannot be called as a yogi. You cannot be called as a sannyasi also again. So, a sannyasi or a yogi is a person who performs actions and is bound duties without expecting any results. There are two things mentioned here. So, we should not just anybody who leaves. We have a lot of hypocrites, isn't it? A lot of sannyasis who are hypocrites. They just leave the family and wear the orange, that kavi bhatte, orange robes, and then they call themselves a sannyasi. So, probably he's referring to that, and also is referring to the misconcept of sannyasi, misconception that just by leaving, I am fed up of the family, so I will go to Himalayas. That should not be done. First, you have to give up the fruits of actions, detachment, work with detachment. Before that, he says, karyam karma, perform actions and perform actions and do your bound duties. So, as we have told previously also, there are lot many things to be done in the society for your family, for your kith and kin, for the people around you. They need you, and you therefore need to perform those duties. Can you run away from these? Therefore, Padmini is not able to join, I think. Yeah. she's- So, um, we must understand that we must perform the basic fundamental principle of karma yoga is to give up action. Before that, first we must have work culture. Work culture is doing our given responsibilities. What decides our responsibility? What is our duty? Based on our role in the family, varna ashrama. Varna is, we have defined, no, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, based, and this varna is also based on the profession, not by birth. Not, then there is no hierarchy. It is a distribution of labor. So whatever you are good at, you have adopted that. Do that with full commitment. That is karya. That means doing your aniyatam kuru karmatvam, he has told in the previous chapter. Niyatam kuru karmatvam. Do your allotted responsibilities. Your first step is to do that. So getting people to do what they are expected to do itself is a big thing. So everybody based on their varna and ashrama. Ashrama means at what stage of your life you are. Are you a student? Are you a householder? Are you a retired person, vanaprastha? Or then after that comes sannyasi, provided he has done all this properly. So unless we do these activities, we cannot, there is no question of karma phala tyaga. First thing is we must follow our responsibility and perform everything as a duty. When you perform everything as a duty, then your focus is on doing the duty properly. You will not be worried about what would be the responses or reactions of the neighboring people, surrounding people, your colleagues or your people around. You will not be worried about that. If we are so committed to perform our duty to the best of our ability, that is our goal. So if that focus goes on that side, then it's easier for us to give up attachment, in the sense to give up, to we will not be disturbed by any kind of responses people are showing around us. We are just least bothered. What are we bothered about? We are bothered about our duty. So this is the biggest thing actually, because half or more than half the people, whether at home or outside, they always look at appreciation or recognition, or at least some kind of acknowledgement. And if it doesn't come, they become disappointed, demoralized, and they say, so much I do, still they don't have any concern, or they don't appreciate. So that is not required. That itself is karma phalam, ashritaha karma phalam. It says anashritaha karma phalam. This is only the expectation. We must give up that, whether they appreciate or not. I am very much happy because I am able to do my work properly. After that, if they appreciate, appreciate. If they don't appreciate, they don't appreciate. If they acknowledge, no. If they make a grumpy face, so be it. I'm not worried. Let it be. I don't care. I care only for my work. So this should be the attitude. So when you perform, as they are both interlinked, when you perform your work as a duty, then you are so happy. You should be happy rather. And a spiritual seeker thinks on these lines. He thinks that if I perform actions as my duty, then there is no subjectivity, no emotions attached. It's very objective. What am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to take care of my parents. I'm supposed to teach properly. I'm supposed to take care of my patient. Invariably, if duty is done with full involvement, you will get that appreciation, you will get that acknowledgement, sometimes immediately, sometimes later, and it may be in some other form also. But you should not focus on that side. Our focus should be on performing our duty. So all these activities come from, um, desires only. So then, how do we? We must have desires. We must have the intention to complete that. That desire should be there. It is not akriyaha. Also means that uh, people may mistake that I am a spiritual seeker. I don't have. Why should I do this? Why should I do that? So we may be confused at times that instead of not expecting doing the work and not why I should do that, let me not do anything, let me just keep quiet, then there is no growth. Growth is life. We must have some desires, we must start initiate some activities, but give up the actions. So that is what he says, and that underlines, and several times, I think some 100 times he keeps reinforcing this thought in the entire Bhagavad Gita in one way or the other. So we must follow this. And even when a person becomes a total sannyasi, that means he has given up the desires, he has given up the what I should say, all the, he has renounced his actions. He depends only on alms and all that. Even then, they say there is a need to work as long as a person is alive. Even if he goes into a state of sannyasi, he should work, and he keeps working for the welfare of others, for the welfare of others. Even teaching, taking sessions. If you see, during Kumbh Mela, so many sadhus, they were all conducting a satsang. So that is also an activity only. That's a very good activity that has motivated so many people. They are all sannyasis. They have renounced action. They go and sit in Himalayas for days together. But when the time comes, they are again down, and they are there engaged in bringing up other people. That is how. So, anashritaha karma phalam karyam karma karoti yah sa sannyasi cha yogi cha. By just not doing action, you are not going to be a yogi or a sannyasi or any spirituals, anybody on spiritual path. One must act, do your duty, and give up the fruits of its action. Yam sanyasamiti, yam sanyasamiti prahuhu yogam taviddhi pandava nahya sanyasta sankalpo yogi bhavati kaschana. Again he continues, sannyasa and yoga. As I said, yoga means general karma yoga. They are not different entities. Sannyasa means renouncing the actions, and those who are performing yoga actions with yogic attitude, they are not different. No person can become a yogi unless one renounces sankalpa. A new word he has brought here. No one can become either a sannyasi or a yogi unless he renounces the sankalpa. There he said karma phala tyagam. Here he says another concept which we know. Sankalpa is nothing but it is the mother of desire. Mother of desire. So sankalpa means, you might have seen sankalpa madibitideni. I have done this sankalpa, means I have decided something. I am going to perform that. So the sankalpa is used in the sense it will happen, it should happen. I want that it should happen. When I was small, we had this ritual. There is Mantralaya. Mantralaya is where great saint called Sri Raghavendra Swami. It is his samadhi. And he is one of the great sannyasins who devoted, and they say even today he exists. That means if you pray, he is one of the sannyasi who is easily accessible, actually. So he My mother used to tell, we need to go and pray there. And if we cannot go, she will bring one coconut. I am doing sankalpa that I am going to Mantralayam after 1 month or 2 months, and that will be fulfilled. That means sankalpa is a desire, it is a full fledged desire which can never go unattended by ourselves. We have decided it's our will. So that is called the root of Rana says that Sankalpa is like wants. So desires can be, desire should be there. We say no, desire only brings about the activity. I want to have food for my the at home. If I am the breadwinner, I go out and I earn. My desire is to get a good job so that I get money for the family to fulfill the needs. That is acceptable. After fulfilling the needs, basic needs, in addition to that, if I want the luxuries, those become the wants. So he very beautifully he has given in his commentary, there is a difference between the need and the want. Need and wants. Wants means uncontrolled desire. You keep on adding. Okay. So Archila is not there, but I will ask this question. So we used to have telephones. Before telephones, what was the mode of communication? We used to write letters, right? Telegram for rapid communication, and then came the landline, and then after landline we got the mobile phones. After mobile phones came the Android phones. Mobile phones, we used to message, we used to talk for hours together, whether required or not. All that happened, but definitely it improved a lot of things, eased out our quality of life. But then after that came the Android further eased because of so many advantages, which you all know. And because of Android, of course, we are having that technology. We can have online sessions also without the laptops or computers. And then came iPhone, and iPhone with different versions. Now you tell me, is iPhone a need or a want? Can you tell me? Any one of you?
Want,
What?
want.
It's a want. No, iPhone
Yes.
is a want. What about Android? Is it a need or
Android
a
is the need of the day now.
want? We have made it as a need of the day. We have become so dependent. Actually, just give a thought. Can we live without Android?
We can.
We can, no? If we have a
Yes.
laptop, we can. Actually, they have done a survey. This, yeah, Peter, what is your take on this?
I would like to go back to letters.
Oh, yeah, you belong to the. I'm sure you would have enjoyed writing letters and receiving letters. Yes, yes. Kavita, what is your take?
I'm confused, but I feel Android is the need of the hour because we are doing so much, and because of it, our we are having time for so many other things. Like now, I can
Other
attend
things.
class. Suppose I had to come to your house and listen to you, which would have not been possible. I mean,
Computer,
not possible. It would be possible, but it would be little difficult.
difficult. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Padmini,
So
what is your take? Yeah, correct. So you feel Android is a need of the hour. I mean, it has eased. Yes,
Same,
Padmini.
ma'am. Agree with Kavita, what she said.
Okay, you feel Android is the need.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yeah, but this lady who, what's her name? She used to come. She's a very good journalist, very well appreciated. What's her name? Forgot. I'll get her name. She has done a survey, and some countries. I think yesterday, I saw some country has banned Android, particularly for children. Any disruption, any innovation will have its own advantages, disadvantages, isn't it? Anything we develop. So want does not depend. iPhone itself need not spoil us, or Android itself need not spoil us, provided we use it judiciously. If we do not use it unnecessarily, then that can still be used only for the need. But what happens is the minute we get it, it's a trap. It will take us to the state where we keep on adding features. As I told, I have seen people, iPhone version, this version, that version, come on every time. And the company also starts, attracting people with different features. So that is the other end, the way that those things are pulling us, consumerism, it's pulling us. That itself is a sankalpa only. Actually, it is a desire. It is a want, uncontrolled want, because we are exposed to that. So Kali Yuga people are, we cannot completely say they are less intelligent. They are intelligent people bringing out with all this. But because of such distractions, I think we have a bigger challenge in spiritual progress, because we have to overcome all this, isn't it? So it's not easy overcoming indulgence in these. So he says, today, if we apply now, if we have to be in the spiritual path, nahi sanyasta sankalpo yogi bhavati kashchana. Unless one renounces these wants. Acharya Vinoba Bhave, my mother used to tell me when I was small, my grandfather, you should ask your pocket, can I live without it? And I used to laugh because I was very small. When my mother, I used to be so idealistic. These are all old stories. But now I understand, can I live without it? So her father had told her. And my grandfather used to quote Acharya Vinoba Bhave. Vinoba Bhave, no, he's one of the freedom fighter. Very, very simple person. He lived as a sannyasi only. Karma yogi, great karma yogi. He has written essays on Bhagavad Gita actually. So he used to ask, he used to tell it seems, ask your pocket, can I live without it? If you can live, now Peter has told, yes, actually we can live without Android if we really want to. You can have a computer, attend online classes, and we can, I don't know, we have become dependent on mobiles because of the so many changes, but maybe we should go back as much as possible. We should reduce those kind of wants. So put a break. And here the concept of nivritti and pravritti. Pravritti is going, indulging in the worldly affairs with progression, of course, good and bad. Nivritti is slightly withdrawing. So that we should put a boundary for the wants where we can stop. So every time we ask the question, can I live without it? If I can, yes, we should. So this is how a yogi or a spiritual seeker should progress. Whether you reach that supreme goal or not, but such thoughts will give us lot of peace of mind, because every want will clutter our mind, isn't it? With every want, we go after it. We try to arrange for the finances for that. It could be small or big. And then we look for so many varieties available in the market. And then we bring that home and then think, did I do a correct? So the entire thought process gets involved in these unnecessary things. And then comparisons may come. So better to withdraw at a particular point of time. Then that is a second shloka. Third one is Arurukshor Muner Yogam Karma Karanamuchyate Yogarudhasya Tasyaiva Shamah Karanamuchyate. So here he differentiates two types of people. One is who is ascending, that means a beginner in the path of yoga. Who Muni, Arurukshoho Munihi Yogam. Muni means he refers to a person like probably you and I who desire to ascend in the path of yoga. So this whole chapter is for people who listen and want to implement Bhagavad Gita in their day-to-day life. Bhagavad Gita, first step is to understand with curiosity what is inside, what is in. And secondly, second step as we go, getting that knowledge, what is the meaning of each. The third step as we progress is to practice what he is teaching. Fourth thing is to experiencing. Next chapter talks about that, Jnana Vijnana Yoga. So here the first step, those who want to ascend in the path of yoga, that means they have understood this yoga, they have interest, they had the curiosity, and they are now convinced. Now they want to ascend. That means they want to progress. These are beginners in the sense beginning of practice of yoga, implementing in our day-to-day life. So for these type of munis, karma karanam, the means means the methodology. What is that? It is karma. That means action. They have to act. And how should they act? We have seen. It's implied here. Action is the means. Through the action only, they can, they can implement the beginners. For the beginners of yoga, it is an action. But yoga rudhasya tasyaiva. For one who has established in yoga, that means who has crossed this, who has viveka and vairagya. They say viveka is discrimination, dualities, and all that he has overcome, and he has vairagya. I am able to give up at any point of time. I can give up. I may be in this world. I may be enjoying a cinema. I may go and watch today. But if I cannot, it's okay. Doesn't matter. So what? Because I always have internally the meditation going on in my mind. So he is the one who's established. That means for such a person, tranquility, for him, what is the protocol, what is the methodology, what is the means to progress? He's progressed already, but still, until he reaches that state, for him, tranquil mind. That means for him, during meditation, there should be no disturbance. He should be totally free from all disturbing thoughts. All disturbing thoughts. How many of you meditate every day? I meditate. I do get disturbing thoughts. What about you, Chaitali? Do you meditate?
I started, ma'am.
Started.
Recently.
Okay. How long do you meditate?
I just started for 5 minutes initially.
Okay. How is the experience? Do you get any disturbances?
Yes, disturbances
between?
are there.
Are
Yes.
there? Okay. What about you, Peter? Have you practiced or do you practice meditation?
Yes, not every day, maybe 5 days a week,
Great.
20
How long?
minutes. 20 minutes usually.
5 minutes. How is that? Do you feel totally free from thoughts and tranquil mind, peace? Or do you get some thoughts, disturbing thoughts?
Oh yes, of course.
You do
Some
get.
thoughts.
Yes. Sometimes, yes. Kavita, what about you?
Yes, ma'am. I'm practicing for about 5 to 7 minutes.
Great,
Uh,
very good.
It is good. I feel myself calm, but some days it is very disturbing.
Disturbing,
Like
yes.
my
It
day
will be.
based on my
Yeah,
meditation.
yeah.
It's going
Yes,
to be. It's become
that
like
is
that.
yeah. That is a property of mind, and mind only is going to. What about you, Padmini?
Yes, ma'am. I have that Sarvapriyananda's that one Yoga Nidra, no, one app sort
Okay.
of thing is there. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
keep that and I do the meditation.
How long you do? How
It is
much?
around 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you, since how many years you are doing, or how many months?
2 years, ma'am.
2 years. Great. And do you get disturbing thoughts
Yes,
now and
ma'am.
then?
Ma'am.
You do get. Okay. But do you see an improvement from the time you started and now over a period of 2
Yes.
years?
As over the years, I don't think much, ma'am. But immediately, I get a lot of calm. That agitated
Very good.
mind, no, it sort of
Yes.
I
Great.
get that calmness. I get, but over the years, over the years also, ma'am, I have like more inclined to spirituality now, and overall, I have become strong. I feel.
Very good. No, during meditation, are there any those disturbing thoughts? No, that means how long you can hold on your mind in that concentrated state. Do you get disturbance?
It comes and goes, ma'am. We can't control completely.
Control. Yes, very
Yes.
good. But there is a
Yes.
calmness. There is no
Yes,
agitation. Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
right. So each one of us are in our own stage of development. So he says, a person who is established, that means who has overcome all this, an advanced person, maybe some of you might have got that control of not reactive with wisdom, not reactive, with wisdom, and you ignore it and you say this is not important for me and just keep going. So with that state of mind, a yoga rudha who's established in that higher yoga, for him, the practice is to have tranquility during meditation. Yoga rudhasya. So aruru kshor munehe yogam karma karanam uchyate. Karma or action is the tool or the means for a beginner. He has to act, and he has to act without giving up the fruits of action, with detachment. And For a person who is established, shamaha karanam uchyate. Shamaha means tranquility of the mind, controlled mind, controlling these thoughts. That means with his practice will be so good. It should be rather more and more he is advanced. The thoughts, less and lesser disturbances keep coming to his mind, or he ignores it quickly. He comes back to his stage of that dharana, concentration. So this is the meaning of that. So for a beginner, you should work with detachment. For an advanced person, as you keep on working with detachment, you will go to that stage of yoga arudha. Arudha means ascended, that arudha. So for such a person, as you reach higher and higher, the mind becomes very tranquil during meditation, and that percolates throughout the day. Throughout the day, you will feel that. I mean, any action you are doing, you will do it with a very calm state of mind. You will not be disturbed, and detachment becomes a habit. Detachment becomes a habit. Okay, I will do this. Any kind of work, whatever be the kind of work, whatever means whether a small sweeping the floor or doing a highest research or whatever. In both of these, any kind of work, detachment will become our habit. It becomes our quality. That should come. If you succeed in achieving that state, then automatically what happens is when you sit in meditation, nothing disturbs, because you are not affected by any kind of external. You just want to be within yourself, like how we have discussed in the previous chapter. We have to go within. He says he's such a yogi, is happy within, he's relaxed within, he's happy within. He doesn't need any external. So when you sit for meditation, that will be the most precious moment for us, because there is nobody around. That tranquility is most welcome state for us, because we want that. As we advance, we want to be to ourselves, and we want to concentrate on that which is within, and we start tasting that kind of relaxation or that kind of tranquility, which is very, very precious. So, Muni, actually, they say contemplative person who has spent Muni, the word Muni, no, they usually use, because here he has used the word Muni, Munihi Yogam. So, who has spent time observing the world, but understood that there is no great fun in this world. I will be in this world, but it's not, I need to go beyond that. To some extent, you and I are in that process now. Therefore, he resorts to yoga. And that is the meaning of Aruruk Shoho Munihi. So, and then slowly, he develops the skills of Karma Yoga. And Yoga Rudha, I told you, he reaches the tranquility. That is shloka number 3. Then fourth one is Yada hinendriyartheshu na karmasvanushajjate sarva sankalpa sannyasi yogarudha tadojjate. Now he is describing, see, he is kind of confirming to what Arjuna has asked about sannyasi. He doesn't use that word sannyasi as renouncer of actions. He says yoga rudha, one who's established in that yoga, a higher person who has given detach. So he says, who's a yoga rudha tadochyate, is defining who is a yoga rudha, established in yoga. When he is not yadahi, na indriyartheshu, na karma swanushajjate. He is not attached to the sense objects or the actions. Sarva sankalpa sannyasi. He has given up, renounced all the sankalpa. Sankalpa we call them as wants. We will refine the word desire into wants here. So he who has given up all those wants, such a person is called as yoga rudha. No attachment, because he has crossed that. We say aruruksho munehi yogam. He has crossed that stage. He has worked for detachment. He has worked on the process of detachment, which you and I have to work. We have to work with detachment, because it's all a prakriti doing. I am not the doer, and it's God's work. Whatever theory you want to apply, whichever suits you, we apply. But we work with detachment. So therefore he is not attached to senses, the whatever distracts him, nor to the actions he is doing. Any kind of action, no, is a binding, they say. You should not be attached to any kind of action. You may say, I am not going for any parties or get-togethers or movies or anything, but I am doing some social service. I started some, but if you are too much attached to that, then you cannot grow. You have to give whatever you want to give. If you see the quality of work, it's good. Objective is good. It is divine, much more divine than other things. Everything is divine. Ultimately, everything is Prakriti, and Prakriti is nothing but Maya of Krishna. You cannot deny their reality. It is not absolute reality. It's not absolute truth. But we need to do that. But supposing, as I said, if you want to, if you have a choice between going for a, visiting an orphanage, or where there is, you need to help somebody needs you immediately, versus a party, then you give up that and go here. That speaks about your high culture. But that is not yoga ruda. We are still in the beginning. So the yoga ruda is, he will also do that, but the attitude with which an ordinary person does is, I did that, I did this. Okay, he will start, boasting about himself. But a yoga ruda says, it was a call, divine call, I did, finished, and then that's it. So the attitude with which a yoga rudha does is much, much above an ordinary person. Not only ordinary person, it is above a beginner, which we classified in the previous shloka. So a yoga rudha is an advanced person who is not attached to any of the sense objects. He is not attached to actions, but he will be doing actions. We have to mark that. He will be doing actions, but he is not attached to any action is okay for me, and who has renounced all the sankalpa. I don't want anything. I don't want anything. I am happy. I am contented. But he is not a lazy person. We have to underline again and again that he is not a lazy person. He is an active person. He is involved in action, but karma phala tyaga and no wants. I don't want anything. I am doing action depending on somebody wants me to do, I will go and do. Or because I am a particular part in the society, even though I have given up all the actions, I might have given up actions, still for welfare of everybody, I will work. For welfare of everybody, I will work. Or I am still a working employee, I will still work. He is also yoga ruda. It doesn't mean that he is a sannyasi. No, a person who is still working, who holds a good position, who is a king, who is a leader of the organization, they all can be a yoga ruda. It's only the attitude, it's only his thought process and his spiritual practices which will make him a yoga ruda. Spiritual practices, being aware all the time about detachment. I'm not the doer. I'm just an instrument. So this kind of attitude will take a person to higher and higher states. Next one is extremely important. Uddharedatmanatmanam atmanamavasadayet atmaiva yatmano bandhuhu atmaiva ripuratmanaha. So he says, let the man elevate his own self. Uddharet means elevate. Elevate means evolve, you can say. Bring up his own self. Atman atmanam. Let him not atmanam avasadhayat. Let him not lower himself, degrade himself. For atmaiva hi atmano bandhuhu. He himself is his friend. Atmaiva ripuhu atmanaha. Ripu means enemy. He himself is his enemy. That means if you are down, you yourself have to bring your moods up. I am talking about the basic concept. If you are down, you yourself are capable and you should make an effort to come up, bring up your moods on your own and never degrade yourself. Degrade means inferiority complex or thinking low about yourself, feeling insecure, feeling neglected, feeling ignored, feeling left out. All these negative things about oneself we should never do. For we are we ourselves are our friend. We can ourselves become our enemy. He says in the next shloka how you can become your own enemy. and how you can become your own friend. He talks about that in the next shloka. But at this point, Uddharet Atmanatmanam means you just think many times we become so low and we start looking out for external help. Even today, in the modern psychologists always say depressed people who are depressed have a tendency to commit suicide. So at that point of time, they must talk to somebody. Even I had put in my one of my blogs, if you feel very low, go and talk to somebody. That may be an emergency call, but in the long run, we should not depend on an external source to elevate ourselves. To elevate ourselves, we should not depend on any external source. We should find our own method, our own way to get over our challenges. Why so? Because nobody else knows our swabhava, our nature. Nobody knows our past experiences. Nobody knows about the past means I'm not talking about my past birth. I'm talking about this life, what I have faced in my childhood, what is my upbringing, what are my tendencies, how I have handled my difficulties in the past. All that I know, my experience. So I know that. So you sit calmly and think whether I have faced similar situations in the past. How did I handle them? So when we sit and reflect, lot many solutions come out rather than looking out for some help. As I said, even in medicine, for emergency, emergency, we have drugs. We immediately treat. We should. So when a person is in a serious crisis, he is unable to manage. External help is a must, but that should not become a habit for anybody. For that person, let's say a person X, he has become so depressed, some disaster, could be a post-traumatic stress disorder. That means he has lost his parent, he has lost somebody, he's lost his wife, he's lost his child. We cannot say Uddharet Atmanatmanam. No, not at that stage. There somebody comes, somebody helps. That is acceptable. But supposing a person is unable to handle his day-to-day challenges, he keeps on talking to people. Even this today, this happened. Tomorrow he will bring another problem. So, and he or she makes it a habit to always talk to people to overcome their crisis. That should not happen. They should not depend. Among such people who are always cribbing, it's also called whining, I think. For such people, two kinds of people are there in this category. One is, I'm just telling based on my experience. One category is when we tell them the solution, they follow it, but they come back with another problem. But they do follow whatever you say. There's another category of people who keep telling their complaints, but they will not take any of your solutions. They just want somebody to listen. So that becomes a habit. That becomes a habit. Today's psychologists, they say counseling is listening. Counseling is listening. Again, what I'm trying to emphasize is dependence on this counseling also should be only for acute stress. Only till you get over, till you learn. The counselors also listen to you, but they leave it to you to decide. I have heard a person who underwent counseling recently. I asked him, what did the counselor say? Counselor said, now I will give you these are the options. You take a call. So we come to Atmanatmanam. Ultimately, the solution should come from within. And this is a beautiful thing to happen because more we contemplate, more we, exercise the inner wisdom to come out, more capable we become to handle the further situations. So this shloka, actually, we had this in school. One of the very impressive shlokas. It makes you so much responsible. So an individual has to uplift himself through his own effort. Now, this is the basic I told you. As you progress in the spiritual practices, a person, another thing is a person who learns to get over his problems by himself starts looking at spiritual solutions. He is the person who will not depend on others. Once he starts looking within himself and starts finding solutions by himself, he will not go to anybody else because he knows that others are not going to solve my problem. I should solve. Then what is my support? He will open Bhagavad Gita. and then he will start. So once next step is when we go into this process of yoga also, we start meditation, we read Bhagavad Gita, we may find a guru will also not solve the problem. He will say, he will only guide. We know in our medical education or any educational technologies, teachers are only facilitators. They will show you the path. You have to walk. Nobody will walk. That is the whole meaning of this. Each individual has to work. So this is such a great thing. And we must understand, to work, we have all that ability. What more you want? You have the Jivatma within us. He himself is within us. So it is just our inclination and we must develop the liking to go within. Easily we can come out of our problems. As I told, all this Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Purana, everything gives generic solutions, but we must customize it to suit our individual requirement. It depends on our tendencies. So some people may like to do bhajans, some people may like to do meditation, some people may like to just chant. We cannot generalize and say you chant every day. No, it is not possible. In fact, even yogasana, I met this person in S. Vyasa, Dr. Manjunath, director. Very beautifully he said, yogasana also is not acceptable by everybody. They are developing methods, different types of yogas to suit tamasic, rajasic, sattvic person. I was really surprised. He said, madam, everybody will not accept. Each has his own. So to suit that particular, so everybody has their own tendencies. Basically, Bhagavad Gita says you have to find out your own solution. Therefore, Swami Vivekananda, and Vivekananda says, man is the maker of his own destiny. So it's your choice. You want to keep troubling others every day, call and tell your problems and get the solutions, or make them listen, waste their time, or you sit, meditate, look into the scriptures and start contemplating, thinking, how can I apply this for my problems and come out of it? So that is the whole meaning. Very beautiful. Holy Mother Sharada Devi, she used to say, uh, do not find fault in others for any situation. Do not find fault in others for any situation. If at all you feel something has gone wrong, try to look at yourself and see where you went wrong. Try to find out the imperfections within yourself rather than always finding fault with others. That means the person who does not do this, Uddhared Atmanam Avasade. Why is it happening to me? Why I am like this? So these are the people who start blaming the situation, blaming the people for the state they are in. They always blame others. Never we should do that. We are responsible for the state we are in. We ourselves, everything has happened because we chose it. Whatever we have chosen, it has happened according to that. Never it has minted. We chose it based on our prakriti, our swabhava, our tendencies. So it happened. We never thought consciously before making any decision. Therefore, we have reached what we are. Now on, if we are conscious, if we are aware, if we are in the divine presence, if we can invoke that, then the mistakes that we commit or the repentance or the regrets will definitely, considerably they will reduce. So that is the whole thing. Very beautiful thing. So never atmanam avasadhayat. Never degrade yourself. We should never ever degrade. We should think what to do ahead. Whatever has happened. What can we do? And never, nobody is great, nobody is small, and each person has highest potential, because we are all manifestations of God. Everybody has the same potential. They only differ because of the choices they have made. So the next shloka says, so and then second statement he says, we are our own friend, we are our own enemies. We can become our own friend and we can become our own enemies. That means our mind will start acting as a friend or as an enemy. When does it act as a friend or as an enemy? It's explained in the next shloka. Bandhu atmatmana tasya yena atmeva atmana jitaha anatmana tu shatrutve vartetatma vartetatmaiva shatruvat. If one conquers, bandhuhu atmatmanah tasya, Yena Atma eva Atmana Jitaha, one who has control. Atma is referred to here in a broad sense of mind, body, everything. Out, self, the lower self. So he says, if you have conquered your own self, that means your mind grossly, then you become your own friend. So he who has conquered his own self, he becomes his own friend and he is very happy within himself. But he who has not conquered, one with unconquered self, he or she behaves as his own enemy. And what is the meaning of behaving like our own enemy? That means misery. Our mind is troubling us. It's always in a sad state, always cribbing. If you keep quiet, this fellow told me like this fellow, this happened to me like that. Um, Resentments, always. Baggage of resentment means you have become your own enemy. Always your mind sits and thinks about your past, the sufferings you have gone through, and it will keep complaining because of them, because my teachers did not teach me well, I have not performed. Because my parents did not bring me up, I am like this. Duryodhana used to tell when Chitragupta, after his death, he asked him, why did you behave like that? Whereas Pandavas who were next to you, they performed so well. They were so good in their behavior. So he says, I have been cheated. My parents were blind and they didn't know. They have not corrected me. Therefore, I have become like this. So Chitragupta says, in childhood, it was your parents. When you grew up, you saw the surroundings. You could have changed yourself. You had become an adult. You had a choice. He has no answer for that. So, if we keep complaining, if we keep cribbing, we may develop qualities like Duryodhana only. In other words, we may not be murdering or killing, or we may not go to that an extent, but internally we will become very negative people. If we pack up all these resentments, then we become our own enemy. But if you start giving up those resentments, whatever happened has happened. Maybe it is like that. So if you follow Bhagavad Gita principles, you will understand parents were helpless, teachers they did their best, give margin, and you don't judge them. So basically try to give up all those things that you feel have not been good to you, have not been pleasant to you. Just try to, give them a rationale saying it had to happen because of a prakriti. It has happened. Now what? If we look at that, then we become our own friend. That means we control our mind. Whenever such thoughts come, we tell mind, just don't think about that. Forget it. Forget. Delete. Very beautifully, my husband's teacher, they met their old teachers recently. So she has told them, and I like this concept. She says in the computer, you have delete button, trash, move it to trash, and delete the trash also. So the delete button should be there always. That then your mind comes under control. It will listen to you. You want to go for a walk at this time to this time, you will go there. You will discipline your energies. Your mind will start listening to you like anything, because it doesn't want to suffer. It doesn't want to go to that negative frequency mode. So you must make Atma Anatmanaha tu Shatrutve Varteta Atma eva Shatruvat. It will start behaving like an enemy. You will never be at peace. So control your mind. Tell your mind to reject, delete all the past, and substitute that with good thoughts, with meditation, with divine chanting, all that. Slowly, slowly it gets filled up, and then they get completely deleted. You will never even have a memory of those. It actually happens, because I can tell this with conviction. Um, all of you may be practicing. I also have done this, and I feel very happy, because everybody will go through some or the other thing, because our own mistakes, we would have got into so many difficulties, challenges, or rejections, disappointments. Past is past. What is there ahead of us, we will take care of that by making mind our own friend. जितात्मनः प्रशान्तस्य परमात्मा समाहितः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु तथा मानापमानयोः. So, Jitatmanaha Prashantasya. Now we told you Jitatmanaha means one who has controlled, who has made his mind as his friend. That means he listens. The mind, it listens. The mind listens to you. Mind, be happy. Okay, let me be happy. Mind, don't think about this. Okay, done. So this much, if we start conversing, communicating with our own self, then we will become jitatmanaha, we self-controlled. And jita means conquered, one who has conquered, not only controlled, conquered. So he becomes prashant, serene person, and who is absorbed in the devotion to Lord. Samahitaha means completely absorbed. Paramatma, his mind is completely absorbed. So one who conquers this Atman means his mind, he becomes serene, and his mind becomes completely absorbed with Paramatma and rises above the dualities. Shita, Ushna. Shita is cold, Ushna is hot. Sukha is happiness, Dukkha is sorrow. Mana is respect, Apamana is insult. So he says he rises above the cold and heat, sorrow and happiness, respect and insult. That means both do not matter to him. You respect me, I'm okay. You don't respect, you insult me, okay. Doesn't matter, because I am Jitatma. I have conquered. The mind is not going to get perturbed. I have trained my mind repeatedly. One must understand that this training has to happen regularly, consistently, as long as we are living. Even the greatest saint of saints can come down. He should also keep practicing every day, because mind is like a monkey. It is like a dog's tail. It will come back again. That is how the Prakriti has been created. So Jitatmanaha means one who yoga rudha, Jitatmanaha, they have conquered, but they do keep doing these practices. They have not given up. They cannot relax. Their activity is this, working on their mind, working on their tendencies, observing their mind, the reactions, the way, whether it is getting succumbed to these distractions, no, let me control. So that awareness, it's a constant practice, but they are at peace, because this activity within ourselves is never strenuous. It always gives lot of peace of mind. So Prashantasya, when they are working in this direction, whatever is happening around, no, outside, they are least bothered. Shita, Ushna, okay. That is why if you say Shita, Ushna is physical terms, we are talking about cold and heat. It also means the circumstances or situations that cool, that soothe our mind, situations that make our mind agitated. So both ways it should be considered. In any of these, and also in the physical atmosphere, in the coldest of the cold temperatures, these sadhus are roaming without any dress. If you see those Aghori sadhus and all, they're naked. No cold, no heat, nothing affect. That means they have got control over their sensory system. The nerves are so sensitive, for us little bit of heat we yell out of pain. To these people nothing happens, because the response to the heat and cold has been conquered. The response to heat and cold has been conquered in physical terms as well as emotional terms. So these are the people who have grown beyond that. And if we are entering into spiritual path, that should be our goal. So and that gives them totally serene and a blissful state. The bliss is the state which goes beyond these dualities. Sukha, dukkha. Dukkha is the lowest suffering. Let's assume that. Sukha is a little better. Oh my God, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy. We sleep nicely because today I'm happy. Bliss goes beyond that. In bliss, it's a different state of mind where both of these don't affect them. It goes much beyond that. That's what I said. Happiness to the power infinity is bliss. And they are in that state when they advance. ज्ञानविज्ञानतृप्तात्मा कूटस्थो विजितेन्द्रियः युक्त इत्युच्यते योगी समलोष्टाश्मकाञ्चनः. So whose heart is filled with satisfaction, truptatma, through knowledge and experience, wisdom. Jnana is knowledge. Vijnana is wisdom through experience. Truptatma, with satisfaction, whose heart is filled with satisfaction. I'm sorry, I'm crossing time. I'll quickly finish another two shlokas. Through knowledge and wisdom, and who is kutastha, undisturbed, and Vijitendriyaha, again, conquered the senses, is called Yukta. Yukta means engaged, perfectly engaged in yoga. Such a yogi considers earth, stone, and samaloštashma kanchanaha. Earth means mud, stone, gold on the same platform. All the three are equal to him. All the three are equal to him. So a person who advances in yoga, for him, I think we will stop at this shloka because it's very, we need to go a little more in detail. Jnana, Vijnana, Truptatma. One who is satisfied through knowledge, knowledge gained through all the scriptures, through gurus, through his experiences, he gets jnana. And then he experiences the truth, the wisdom. That means he actually gets realization. Such a person is totally undisturbed. Kutastha means he's fixed, he's steadfast, stable, and he has conquered the senses. Such a person is called perfect yogi, yukta. And he considers all these, mud, stone, and gold on the with the same attitude. He considers them as same. Even you bring him loads of tons of gold, doesn't matter to him. You bring him mud, he may treat both of them as same. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he was exactly like this. He was a realized soul because he's considered as Avatara Purusha. Always he used to say Kama Kanchana, Kama, give up Kama, give up Kanchana. He probably meant this only, Sankalpa, give up the wants, give up the wants. And Kanchana, gold. Gold means gold is the one which is always dragging you towards this Kanchana, I mean wants, isn't it? Sankalpa. So when a person becomes such a jnani and such a he experiences the absolute truth, he finds him and the universe as one. He finds that what is truth is the divinity which is present in the living and non-living. So when this is the case, where is the difference between the gold and the stone? All are Pancha Mahabhuta, isn't it? We talked about creation. All are the same. Then why should I bother? And in what way am I going to be benefited with that? I have got the greatest treasure in life. So it makes no difference to me. So that is how he considers. So to summarize, one must do the assigned duty without expecting any results. So whether you are a sannyasi or you are a yogi, and one who has abandoned all the wants. Wants are the roots of desire. He is the yogi, and both are the same. We must not think sannyasi and yogis are different. All are yogis. Work with detachment for beginners and tranquil mind in meditation for the advanced yogis. Advanced yogi has detached himself from senses and the actions, and one alone has to elevate himself and never degrade himself. Once you have controlled your mind, you become your own friend, and otherwise you are your own enemies. An advanced yogi is above dualities, and he considers the gold, the stone, the mud, everything is same. There is no difference, which is considered as a huge difference by an ordinary man. For a yogi, that does not make any difference. Therefore, he is unaffected with respect, with the insult, with the cold, with the heat, with the sukha, with the dukkha. So there we conclude. If you have any additions or any opinions, most welcome. Sorry, I took a very long time. Anything would you like to add, Kavita? Peter?
It goes back to say that we have to do all our responsibilities without having attachment to the outcome, like what you have been telling me, ma'am.
Correct. Our duty, doing it as a sense of duty. I'm teaching, it's my duty to teach correctly, perfectly. And as much as possible, I want the students to learn. But if they don't have any interest, you had asked this exam question. That's why I'm bringing back to the same question. So if they don't have an interest, what can we do? We will try our level best to make it interesting, to bring them to that, to motivate that. Beyond that, it's not in our hands. So concentrate on that effort to teach and motivate them. But if it doesn't translate into their performance, it's not your mistake at all. That we should not expect. While there is a scope for improvement, you can go back and think, maybe I should change my methodology. All that is true, but not to get disturbed by the outcome. Yeah. Peter, anything? Would you like to add or anything?
Yes, it just the Gita is so very poetic, but it helps me to come back to Samkhya philosophy, because with the self in Shloka 5, I often think that there's the self and then there's the self, right?
Okay.
There's Atman and there's Ahamkara.
Yes.
And it's that discernment between the self and the self, between Atman and Ahamkara,
Ahamkara.
that is so important. Ahamkara is what keeps me attached and keeps me averse to things, that makes me think that because my students aren't learning, it's my fault because it's my ego that is so wrapped up in their learning. Like, if they learn, then I'm better than,
Yes.
that kind of, and also with Shloka 8, with, I love the line, to whom a clod, a stone, and gold are the same. And that, again, Sankhya comes back to discernment, recognizing that this is all Mula Prakriti, and they're all equal.
Equal, right. Perfect. Very true. That point is correct, Kavita. He has brought out a very correct point. What comes on the way is our ahankara, correct? We think our satisfaction is related to our ego. So giving up the fruits of action is giving up ahankara. Correct. Very valid point. Right. Point.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything, Chaitali, Padmini? Would you like to add anything?
And this, the other class we were discussing about Bhakti Yoga and Karma Yoga. Most of the time, I feel we should practice it together. Like,
yes,
we have done our level best. Now surrender to God. The rest, leave it to God.
Correct. That's also very, very valid point. Yes, that helps us in giving up the fruits of action. Correct. Surrender to God. You take over. And the outcome is dependent on so many factors in the other chapters. No, I think last few chapters, I think that must be 17th chapter. He talks about what decides the outcome of action. So then we understand it is His grace, it is the effort, it is so many things are there. 5 or 6 points he says, which decide the outcome. It's not only our effort. It's not only our effort. So let's not worry. We'll give our level best and surrender, as you said. Surrender also brings down ahankara, which Peter was saying. Ahankara comes down when we surrender. So bhakti, with a tinge of bhakti when we do, and also consider it as God's work. So He knows what best. We'll leave it there. Yeah. So with that, I think we wind up today's session. कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियं वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृतिस्वभावा करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि. पापोऽहं पापकर्माहं पापात्मा पापसम्भवात् त्राहि मां कृपया देव शरणागतवत्सल. अन्यथा शरणं नास्ति त्वमेव शरणं मम. तस्मात् कारुण्यभावेन रक्ष रक्ष रमापते. ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishnaarpanamastu. Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Thank you all. Have a great week ahead. Bye.
Thank you,
Thank you.
ma'am. Thank you.